if you had to bet your house on one team, and I know, Seth, I know you live in a mansion out there.
I live a little itty bitty, great place, but itty bitty. We're not about square footage on the West Coast. We're about what's outside the house. It's got nothing to do with it.
Listen, I ran into Seth 2 years ago, Randolph.
Yes.
2 years ago? 3 years ago.
No, more than that. I want four maybe.
Where was
Becker's Bakery down on Manhattan
Avenue.
Randomly
looking for a breakfast spot. And I go into this bakery. I don't know why I wanted a bakery for a breakfast spot, but I did.
You like flour and sugar. Who doesn't like flour and sugar?
Right. And Seth's in there, and I'm like, man, you can look at the beach from this place.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I living in Boston still?
Good question.
He left Connecticut for the damn beach in California and never came back. Smart man.
Come back. Thank you.
He's a smart man.
All right, Randolph. I got room for you, Randolph. Come. You can come crash.
You got a room. He's got a whole room for you.
Hey, that's fine. That's all I need.
So if you got to put everything on the Davis mansion, who are you putting on? What team?
For me.
I was because I mean, it would. I want to say Auburn, but it'd be hard to go against Baylor. It would. I just think they have all the pieces in the defense. I wish they threw it in the post a little more. Maybe that's the one thing that they're missing. But I just think their talent and their culture. But I could make it's tough for me between Baylor and Auburn right now. But I lean towards Baylor, but I'll reserve the right to change it.
All right, Baylor it is for Seth. Randolph, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Gonzaga. I think they're going to figure it out. I think they'll get those young guys reps that they need during the course of their conference play. And I just believe when the conference turns around, I can't imagine there's any team any hungrier than they are. And I think they're as talented as anyone, and I think they'll be the hungriest team come. Baylor, we know they're gonna strap up. We know they're gonna defend. You're gonna have to bring your lunch pail. They're gonna be a tough out. Auburn, I just think that now we're not talking about Gonzaga enough, and I think that they're gonna be a team. We talk about a ceiling to improve. I think they have as much of a ceiling to get better than all these teams than just about anybody in the country. I think they have the largest room for growth. And if I had to bet come March for right now, I'm gonna go with Gonzaga.
You know what? I'm riding with you there, RC.
Wow.
2 point guards. Maybe the best player who's done it at a high level, the veteran in Drew Timme. They've got enough shooting, not great shooting, but enough perimeter shooting. And a game changer in the defensive end that is going to he's going to look completely different after he terrorizes the WCC. He's going to have confidence on the offensive end. It's going to be a different Chet Holmgren, I think, when we see him come March in WCC tournament and obviously the NCAA tournament. So I like both of those. It's really hard to choose for me between Gonzaga and Baylor. And again, I always start with point guard play. And I think Akinjo is the best point guard in the country. But I think the combination of Nembhard and Hickman has a chance to be really, really good. And they've got it just like Randolph said, like they've been there, a lot of their guys, enough of their guys have been there, been close. And Drew Timme just gives them that kind of emotional leader as well that I think could carry him over the top. So listen, it's tough. Those two to me are the two. I can't believe none of us took Duke. Because I do think if you look at Duke, right, think about this. Paolo could be the number 1 pick. He'll be in the top 3. We know that, right? AJ Griffin's going to be probably somewhere in the middle of the first round. We agree on that?
Probably higher.
Mark Williams, Wendell Moore, and Trevor Keels could all be first rounders, late first rounders, early second, late, somewhere in that, I think, 20 to 40 range. I'd be surprised if all 3 of them. No other team comes close to that in terms of talent. And you have the coach in his swan song. Like everything sets up for Duke to win it this year. Yet none of us picked them.
No, I think the story is great and it sounds great. But if Jeremy Roach was more consistent and more of a traditional point guard or someone that we can say could shoot, even if he can slide off, he's just not there. And it's hard to pick those guys. I think ultimately Wendell Moore was playing ACC Early Player of the Year. And he'll be fine. He'll defend. He's going to be the ultimate glue guy. And now with AJ Griffin coming in there, he can be that consistent third scorer. they're right there with those guys. I just can't. If we don't get a consistent Jeremy Roach from Duke, they can be an upset victim. I think they're a team that can be that you can upset. They're gonna be right there. They're gonna, you can defend them, But I think again, somebody's gonna zone them, and somebody's gonna sit back and say, hey, we're not going out there. You're too big. You're too athletic. Just shoot threes, shoot jumpers, and we're gonna have to live with that. And I don't know if they can do that yet.
And by the way, what's going on with Theo John? All of a sudden, he can't get on the court. I mean, he was their most valuable player when they beat Kentucky. We're talking now, maybe it's because of Griffin, but they're getting nothing out. They're getting nothing out of the bench. I mean, Joey Baker is, the one thing that he was brought in to do was shoot 3-pointers, and he's not doing that. And now they're not getting Theo John. And this we've seen this with Krzyzewski for a long time. I mean, he'll bury his guys on the bench pretty early in a season and ride with 6 or 7, and it just, when it works, it's great, but I just think it shrinks their margin for error. So maybe Theo John is someone to watch out for over the next 6 weeks, if they can get him going, maybe built in some cushion. If someone else, if we just need to have a blue collar win, then Theo John can help you with that.